All right, we are just talking about what we are cooking in our kitchen this morning. So excited to have Chef Stuart Reb Donald here with us, and we are cooking up something so yummy that it sounds yummy, but I've never actually heard the name of what it's called. What is this?
This is the LA Burrito, with LA standing for Lower Alabama. We're going to get rid of the grilled chicken. We're going to get rid of the rice and the beans. We're going to replace it with cheese grits, country ham, and then I'm going to have a little red-eye gravy to dunk it in.
That sounds absolutely phenomenal. So what all do we need? We have some shells here and some oil.
Right, I have some tortillas here that we're going to put them in. I've got some water here that I'm getting ready to boil my cheese grits in. One of the things I like to do with my cheese grits is I replace some of the water on the instructions with a little bit of evaporated fat-free milk. That's going to make the cheese grits a lot creamier. And by using the evaporated fat-free milk, I'm not bolstering up all of the fat, and that way I can splurge on the country ham and the cheese.
Oh, I like that. I love splurging on cheese. If you've watched the show, which obviously you have, hopefully, cheese, one of my favorite things. Cheese, cream, anything sweet, mix them together. I don't know if you mix them together, but all some of my favorite things. So what are we going to do first?
Okay, well, I'm going to start my cheese grits here in this pot. I've already got some water in here. I'm going to add my evaporated fat-free milk.
Okay, making it creamier.
Right, and I'm going to let that come up to temperature. And I'm also raising the temperature on this pan. I'm going to take the country ham, and this is already cut into strips, and I'm just going to put it in the pan and let it render a little bit. Let some of the fat come out of it, let it warm up, and get a little crispy.
Now, what temperature does our pan need to be on?
About medium heat.
Medium, all right. And our water and evaporated milk?
As high as you need it to get it to boil.
All right, sounds good. Well, I'm going to let you do this, and then when we come back, we're going to start cooking our grits and cook this a little bit more.
All right.
That looks awesome. I've never heard of that before, the LA Burrito.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I like the fact that it's LA is in Lower Alabama.
Yeah.
I always thought that was something Dothan folk like myself always did. I'm glad that it's also around here in Mobile, too.
We are back in the kitchen with Chef Stuart Reb Donald. Good morning.
Good morning. How's it going?
I'm excited to have you here because the LA Burrito is getting me excited. The Lower Alabama Burrito. We'll talk about that in just a second. But first, Stuart, can you tell the people a little bit about the Kitchen Hotline?
The Kitchen Hotline is a neat idea. It's kind of a virtual private chef service.
Okay.
We don't actually come into your home and cook for you like with a regular private chef service, but we are on call 7 days a week. You have a question, you give us a call.
Cool.
You need, say it's your parents' anniversary and you want to do all the work yourself, you give us a call. We'll consult with you on the menu. We'll help make the shopping list for you, put the recipes together for you, tell you when to start what. We also have sommeliers in case you have wine questions.
Okay.
And if you are got one of those diets that, you know, say gluten-free diet or something like that, we actually have licensed nutritionists that you can consult with.
Awesome.
And you can find out everything you need to know about the Kitchen Hotline by going to thekitchenhotline.com.
There you go. And another way to get some awesome recipes is check out this book. This is you, Stuart Reb
That's
Donald.
me.
This is your book. Tell us about this.
Third Coast Cuisine is a labor of about 4 years of love. And it just so happens that I compiled these recipes and tested them, everything, got it ready for publication, and it came out 2 weeks after the Gulf oil spill.
Wow.
So I have decided to take a portion of the profits. I'm donating it to the Gulf Restoration Network out of New Orleans that has been around for years and one of the leading environmental groups for keeping the Gulf in good shape. And I just felt that that was, you know, my little part that I could do. When I wrote this, it was supposed to be just a collection of recipes from the Gulf Coast, from Mexico up through the Gulf South states and down to Cuba. So it's 3 different countries represented in the cuisine. And then it looked more like it was going to be a requiem.
Well, it is fantastic. Definitely a wonderful book with some wonderful, delicious recipes. And one of those, we got the Lower Alabama Burrito. What are we going to do now?
All right. Well, I've been rendering down the country ham here.
Okay.
And if you want, you can also get some of the European hams instead. The prosciutto from Italy and the jambone from Spain. Those are actually country-style hams. It didn't start in the South. It started in Europe. And we just brought it here, add a little smoke flavor, a little more salt, a little more fat, because that's what we do in the South.
That's true.
Okay, so if you want to remove that.
Okay.
And then here I've got my cheese grits. I've got basically grits right now, and I'm going to stir in a lot of sharp cheddar cheese. Now, the sharp cheese is important anytime you're going to do cheese grits or macaroni and cheese or something like that, because the mild cheddar will lose its flavor.
Okay.
And this will actually make it taste like the cheese flavors that you're used to.
Right.
Okay? Now, while that cheese is melting in there, I'm going to add a little bit of cooking oil into the pan where I rendered down that ham. And we'll let that get what the French like to call the fond off the bottom. It's the brown good stuff.
The brown good stuff is the fond. Good to know.
And this is the simplest gravy in the world, and most people outside of the South tend to be scared of it. It's called red-eye gravy because it really only has 2 ingredients, oil and day-old coffee.
Oil and day-old coffee. I've never seen anything like this before.
And it doesn't sound like it will taste good at all, but it is absolutely delicious. The oil kind of takes the bitterness edge off of the black coffee, and then the coffee cuts through the fattiness of the oil so it's not too rich or too thick on the tongue. And all we have to do when we come back is we'll put one of these wraps together, one of these LA burritos, and then you just dunk it in the red-eye gravy.
I'm skeptical, but I'm just going to have to put my faith in you and try it out when we get back.
No, I wouldn't let you down.
All right, I'm excited about it. Cherish, looking good, huh?
I think it sounds fantastic, and it smells great, too. Thank you, guys. Winter can be a rough time. Smelling good in the kitchen with Chef Stuart Reb Donald, and we are finishing up our LA burrito. It really does smell good. Not much left.
Not much at all.
Okay.
I'm just going to take one of the tortillas. This pan is on low right now. I just want to warm it up a little bit. It'll make the tortilla more pliable so it doesn't break apart on you.
Yeah, I've gotten them right out of their fridge before and just have them break to pieces. All the sour cream squirts out one side. The cheese is everywhere.
Right. If you're going to do several at a time, you can take the whole bag and put it in the microwave for about 30 seconds. Just keep an eye on it.
Okay.
That'll steam it just enough so it heats all of them all the way through.
Family size.
Exactly. Especially if you're doing like a fajita night, it'll come in handy.
Ooh, that looks really good.
So I've taken the country ham, I diced it up, and I put it in the cheese grits. And I'm just going to smear it here on the bottom third of the tortilla.
Okay. Oh, that looks really good and cheesy.
And just for you,
more cheese?
a little extra cheese.
Oh, it's my lucky day. Merry Christmas to me.
Okay. And a lot of people, they struggle if they're going to do egg rolls or burritos or anything like this. They don't know exactly how to do it. So you're going to come over once, peel that back, then fold your sides in, and just like it's a Christmas package.
Look at that, and it's just perfect.
Right, and then we're just going to let it sit there just a minute and kind of heat the tortilla the rest of the way through. Shouldn't take but about a minute to 30 seconds, and I'll just heat that up just a little longer.
All right.
Now, this recipe is in the cookbook, Third Coast Cuisine. There are a lot of different recipes in there. There are some traditional recipes from Mexico, and a lot of what we're used to in this country that we call authentic Mexican cuisine is nothing like Mexican cuisine. There's no crunchy tortillas. There's no flour tortillas.
Interesting.
There's no yellow cheese.
Interesting.
And so I've got some of those traditional Mexican dishes. I've got Tex-Mex, which is what we're used to here. And there's Cajun and Creole cuisine. There's some Caribbean food. If you've ever had a Cuban press sandwich, I've got a recipe in there for that.
All right.
Also, my mother's soppin biscuits.
Soppin'. Oh, I remember sopping eggs when I was a kid.
Right, and these biscuits that my mom makes, she does them at a little higher temperature, so they get a little bit crustier on the outside, and they're still nice and light on the inside, so that when you sop it through something, it doesn't break apart.
Like sopping eggs.
A Southern man's got a sop.
That's right. All right. Well, I can't wait to taste this. This is the cookbook. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to send it back over to Joe because I'm ready to eat.
Sounds good. I'm going to get some right